The missing middle is something that's been discussed quite often in the city of Toronto over the last couple of years, and how it's going to make properties more affordable for younger families looking into the most desirable areas in the city of Toronto. Let's discuss what the missing middle is and if it's going to make things more affordable for those younger families looking to get into the market. I'm Michael Ouzas. I'm a realtor here in Toronto. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below on the missing. Do you think it will make things more affordable? If you ever want to book in a call with me to discuss what's been happening on the ground level in Toronto real estate, you can click on that first link in the description down below. The missing middle is a term that's been thrown around quite a bit in the last few years, especially when it comes to making properties more affordable. And you may have heard that term, or it may be new for you, but there's an element of where essentially the city is looking to find solutions to make properties more affordable for younger families or younger generations in prime areas across the city. What that looks like is maybe taking a bigger family home, like a single detached property that is zoned as a single family home, and breaking it up into multiple units and even a laneway suite. That effectively is the definition of the missing middle. We'll discuss a couple articles and even down what exactly is a laneway suite, because that's a whole new type of housing here in the city of Toronto. Let's start here. Globe and Mail, Toronto moves to build the missing middle. This was published on June 13th, 2024. You can take a look at this article on your own time, but it starts out saying that there's a Toronto developer, Montcrest Asset Management, previously known as NYX, bought and rezoned a corner lot on Bayview Avenue north of Shepherd with the intention of replacing a mid-city bungalow with 11 townhouses. To build that, they had to go through the Ontario Municipal Board and then sold the site in 2017 to a builder that got tangled up in the city's site plan approval process. The project stalled and remains unbuilt. If you do go through this article, you will see some examples of smart density, and this is, for example, a 10-plex on a single family lot, which turns it into 10 unit mini apartments. Something like this would have a rear laneway, and 25 feet wide is a pretty common size for the city of Toronto from a lot size. It doesn't say how long or how deep they need to build this, but in general, a very common lot size in the city of Toronto would be, for example, 20 by 100 or 25 by 100 as an example. And this is what that could look like if someone was to take a single family home and turn it into 3 units. This is where you would have a 1-bedroom unit in the basement, a 1+ den on the main level, and a 2-bedroom plus den on the upper level. If you want to take this a step further, you could also add a laneway suite in the back if there's some kind of access through the back for another laneway suite. In order to build one of these, there are some permits and some approval processes that need to go through it, especially when you are looking to build one. You need to make sure to follow all the rules, for example, for fire separations, proper ceiling heights, entrances, egresses. All the units must have kitchens and upgrades to the electrical. And this is where those approval processes and permits could really play a factor when coming to turn one of these properties into a multi-unit property. There's a new bill that has just released, Bill 185, which allows landowners to challenge bylaws and official plan changes that affect their own properties, a move that could potentially derail or at least significantly delay the implementation of Toronto Council's recent efforts to permit small-scale apartments on major streets around the city. If you jump over to stories.com, and in my next video, I will break down the costs of a laneway suite and what that looks like and how exactly would that affect the affordability for a missing middle property. It says, based on principles of gentle densification, the idea behind missing middle housing fill the gaps in the aforementioned tall and sprawl. According to Smart Density, the missing middle also helps Toronto affordability by putting more rental units on the supply-strapped market, though the reality of bringing down costs depends on several factors. Let's talk about those factors for a second. If someone is going to be spending the money to convert their single-family home into multiple units, at the moment of this video, or at least to my knowledge, there is no element of being able to separate those units to sell them off individually. And what that means is effectively they're creating more rental supply versus making more properties to purchase. If they were able to separate them, for example, under a strata, like a condo style situation, then there could be an element where now you take a $2 million house and divide it into 3 separate units and maybe sell each one for $700,000 or $800,000. Now, hearing that number might not be too exciting for someone looking for a more affordable option in Toronto real estate, especially as condos are around the same price or even cheaper on the market for first-time buyers right now. But something to keep in mind is that with the cost of building and permits and the application processes right now, the cost to build build one of these units is not super insignificant. When you factor in the cost of land and the cost of the house as well, that all adds value to the current owner and the person who's turning it into units to be resold in the future. One thing this does do is allow for more efficient use of space, provides a means for families to enter desirable neighborhoods that would have been other out of reach. Is the missing middle actually materializing? Laneway and garden suites have popped up across cities since they were legalized. There hasn't been a great rush to obtain building permits that some had anticipated. And this is from the chair of the Planning and Housing Committee, Toronto City Councillor Gord Perks. I don't have a document that I can point to and say this is missing middle and this is how much of it is getting built, because nobody agrees on the definition, but they will say they've done a lot of work to relax the zoning and allow a wider variety of housing types within neighborhoods. Some of those have been generating a fair number of applications. I think we're up to over 100 applications for laneway suites, and that there's a constant stream of people increasing the number of units through minor variances or building permits, but it's not the tens of thousands. Last piece here is that Greenberg says they need to change the regulations to make it quick and easy to build things like laneway suites. If you can imagine, what if we actually had a desk in City Hall where people could go and instead of telling you all the things they can't do, they would actually help people get their plans approved. They could advise on building code issues, help them with meeting all the standards and requirements, and even, as many people have suggested, provide a sample plan so they don't have to go through the expense of designing from scratch. These shifts take time to catch on, and laneway and garden suites are still a relatively new concept. And the other piece of that is the NIMBY, which is the Not in My Backyard set group, would like to keep their leafy single-family home-filled neighborhoods as they found them. Thank you very much. It's always interesting when you see these articles talking about a proposal and how it could change the different densifications of areas. Having just gone through the city of Toronto to try and move the gas meter of my house about 3 feet to the left, so not even trying to relocate it totally. It's currently in front of the porch and we're trying to expand the stairs on the porch, so we just wanted to move it 2 feet to the left. I've been waiting well over 6 weeks to get a permit for that move. And in fact, when I talked to the city about it, they said that instead of just being able to put an elbow connection and move it 2 feet over, I would need to get 2 or 3 different permits, because according to them, they need to the entire trench. And this could take another week or two. So about an 8-week process to move a gas meter 2 feet to the left, which they actually came and said it's totally fine, no problem, should be an easy fix. It's been well over 6 weeks before getting an answer. I can't imagine what the process looks like to building multiple units within a house. And in the experience of going through the permit process for my own property, it was a multi email and weekly process. Actually, it took about 2 months to get the full permitting done for my property. And if you're a builder looking to make this change from a single family home into a multiple family residence, waiting 3 months and carrying the property for that amount of time where you're not even able to get the ball rolling in that process doesn't really seem like a super attractive alternative. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below on if you think the missing middle will be a new solution for affordability in the city of Toronto. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.